how to use the Dejero EnGo live unit. So there are two ways you can power it up. You can either use your direct current, your DC power when you're plugged in, or you can use an Anton power battery. You'll need one of those two. And then of course you have your SDI cable, or also BNC is another name for it. You have HDMI, which are the two ways that you can send video from your Sony NX cam, which is what we are going to be showing today, how to hook it up with the EnGo unit. So with the Anton, what you will see here on this side of the unit is that there's the two pins. On the inside of the Anton battery, you can see that there's also two pins that match. So all you will do is you will set it and you will hear a click, and that means it is locked in to go. Your battery is all set. Now to disengage the battery to release it, there is the pin right here. You'll push it down, and again you have to hold it down. If you don't, it'll just release itself back up and keep it locked. So you hold down and pull back towards you and release the battery. So what you'll do now with the DC, which is what we're going to use today, on the back end here you will go DC in, push in, and then you're turning it clockwise until it is snug and tight. And then what we will do is we will turn it on, because the EnGo unit can take anywhere from 10 to 15 seconds to load. So while it is doing that, we're going to start hooking up our SDI cable, what we are showing today. So you will take the one end of your SDI to the back. As you can see, the SDI port is here, or if you're going HDMI, it's at the bottom right. And then you also have your Cat 5 hookups or Ethernet cables that go at the top, and they can go to either port. Just depends how many you are hooking up. So on an SDI end, there is a little, it almost makes like a little slant. You want to make sure that the opening is in line with the right side pin, and then you'll turn it clockwise to the right. It'll lock it in, and that is set. So then on your NX cam, on the bottom right here, you'll see an SDI outlet, and right there that is. So again, you will make sure that it is lined up with the pin at the top, turn it in, and it is locked in. So now as you can see, the Dejero unit, it's live, but we're not getting an image. So what you have to do with that image is you have to make sure on your camera, once you have it turned on, as it will take a second of course for the Sony to turn on, it is on, and again there's still no image on the monitor. So what you have to do is you'll have to go into the menu settings of the camera, and then you will go down one to the record out set. Once there, you will move down to the video out, and you will hit enter. And as you can see, it's on HDMI. Well, we are using SDI, so you will hit enter, you will scroll to SDI, hit enter, hit menu. Now if you look on our Dejero unit, you can now see that it's showing an image. So if I move the camera right to left, left to right, it is showing exactly that. And then there's this green bar here on the screen. The green bar here is your audio feed that it's picking it up. And so with the cameras, if you are to use a microphone, whether it's a stick mic, wireless lavalier, you will actually, on the camera is where you'll hook it up just like any other one. You'll go either input 1 or 2, and then set it up just like you would any other live shot, and it'll then feed it through the SDI to the live unit. So now looking more into the live unit, as you can see up at the top here are the cellular data cards. That's what that's meaning, that you have data. This EnGo unit has the data ports in. Some will not. If they don't, it will just have a little circle on it, and you won't be able to, these won't be highlighted. So what you need to do is you'll hit the blue arrow, the arrow up at the top right, and it's telling you the device is ready, but we are not quite ready. So you can go to your connections. Again, this is where it shows you all the different data cards that are in at least this unit. You can go down to the more section, and again, you can mess with your brightness if you want a little brighter, a little softer, or you can auto adjust as well. And then you are going to click on your settings, and this is where things can get a little tricky sometimes. So for your latency issues, if you have more than one of these, sometimes the latencies won't be synced up. So you want to make sure, so for instance, this one's at 1.5, some go 8 seconds, 3 seconds. It's kind of a preference on your units you want to do. So then what you will do is you're going to go to your connections. Here in your connections, you will go up to the top. So you can either use Ethernet modem as a way to connect. You usually can just keep it at all and you will be fine. Now this is kind of the touchy one you want to watch. So for instance, we're using the cellular one. That is why this one is green. If you're going to be hooked up with the Ethernet cable or Cat5, you want to go with your Ethernet because that way it knows that is the hookup it is looking for. It's not looking for cellular data. It's looking to be wired in. Usually don't like automatic because then it'll try for both and it makes it a little slower to get hooked up. And then you're all set to go. Sometimes you can also use a Wi-Fi if you would like. They do work that way. I always recommend using the router, or a modem. You can kind of whatever you may choose. And then when you're in the records, for instance, this is just the section. If you want to record something, this is where you can get a little more touchy with how you want the footage to be. So back at the main settings, you'll have to then you get to this screen, you have to hit this arrow at the top to get back to the home screen. So again, here's the record menu. That's where you can go and again choose. It's another quicker way to kind of choose what you want. You just hit record. It'll record it for you if you don't want to go live right away, and then you can actually play it back later on when you're actually ready to use it. So now we're going to go live. So as you can see, it says go live. It says it's ready to go. So we're going to hit that. Now it takes also about 10 to 15 seconds usually to test the setting. It's going to test the latency, make sure everything is set to go for the feed. And as you'll see here in just a few seconds, it is now saying it's good. The latency is set to what it's going to be set. It's sending it out right now. And then of course this counter down here, this ticker, it'll start at 0 and count from 1 and go upwards. Now sometimes you will see the good where it's green, sometimes it'll be yellow or red. That's usually telling you it's bad or it's lagging, and then you'll just have to kind of switch your latency units so that it works perfectly. So again, this is how you will go live with your SDI. Of course, HDMI is the exact same way. The only thing you will switch is when you're back on your camera settings. You will then switch back to the menu setting. This is where you go menu. As you can see, we're still there on the video, and then you will go to HDMI instead of SDI. Now to stop the feed, as you can see, it has gone dark because I was messing with the camera, but you will hit stop. It'll ask you yes or no, do you want to stop? And you will hit yes. So now you can see it is all set to go. It's back to ready. You just have to let it know. And then to power down, you just hold in for a second or two, and it's going to ask you, do you want to turn it off, yes or no? You will hit yes. And then it usually takes a few seconds for itself to shut itself off, and then it will power down and be good to go. So that is how you use your Dejero EnGo live unit.